From being 16th in 2021 to beating Lewis Hamilton in the driver's standings in 2022, George Russell came a long way. But now he's in trouble and he's ready to risk it all for Mercedes. George Russell has stated that Toto Wolff has his full support when it comes to the company's future. In other words, George will be helping the team with car development. This means he'll be running experiments during races at the cost of his own points and standings, and why wouldn't he do that? This really could help the team in 2024 onwards. Plus, if Mercedes does well, he does well, because he's a proven race winner and he's shown the world what he can do.
George Russell is taking him 3 goes, but finally he gets past Max Verstappen, and the crowd here roar their approval for that one. George Russell, the man who ended up in the gravel in qualifying yesterday, he's left no stone unturned today in his pursuit of victory.
And he's young, so he's pretty much Mercedes' future. If Mercedes enters an era of dominance again, he'll benefit the most from it, because Mercedes was really looking to make a big step with the W14, and unlike the W13, this car didn't have any problems with porpoising. However, the race in Bahrain really showed just how problematic that car was as well, and just how massive the gap to Red Bull was. Because you gotta remember, the gap wasn't only to Red Bull, but to Aston Martin too. That's because Aston Martin closely followed Red Bull's design and ended up being quicker than Mercedes. This posed a heck of a lot of questions for the Silver Arrows squad since it decided to stick with its unique yet horrible car design. But is all hope lost? Well, honestly, yeah, all hope is lost. Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff has stated that although upgrades are coming, they won't be enough to be competitive later on because the reason. Cause what's really gonna work is a radical design change, which is something that just can't happen right now, which is crazy. Like, when the team built the W13, they knew this design philosophy is flawed, yet they decided to carry on with it this year too. Honestly, they should have just pulled an Aston Martin and hired someone from Red Bull. However, a massive shift like the one Mercedes is planning could take a while and could compromise the team's results. George Russell has stated he's ready to take the hit. Talking about Mercedes and its woes, George stated that he's there to win. He stated that, of course, the team wants to optimize every single result, but considering that he's facing a choice between having a chance to win races in the future or fighting for a few points now, he's always going to choose more wins in the future. Cause if doesn't make all the sacrifices, then what? Then he's stuck with a midfield team watching Red Bull dominate year after year. Just how Horner watched Toto dominate year after year. Here, take a look at what George Russell stated. If we want to sacrifice some races or part of a season to give ourselves a chance to get a car that can fight, he continued, whether it's the second half of the season or even if it's looking towards next year, maybe what we're gonna have to do because clearly we're way behind. He also said that no one will ever remember who finished second or who finished third, so being second isn't good enough for him.
George Russell going for his first Grand Prix win, 7-time world champion chasing him.
There is no argument, I think, about who has been the star of this weekend.
He'd rather come third or fourth now to have Mercedes winning championships again. He stated that if drastic changes are what's needed right now, then he'll support the team by letting them run experiments on his car. Regardless of that though, the Mercedes regression has been a big blow. So in 2023, the floor of the car was raised by 15 millimeters. Because of this, the team was really hopeful that the true potential of the no-side pod concept will be seen by everyone now. But then it didn't happen. The car is still slower than ever. Russell admitted that the team is a long way behind where it wants to be, and that the only positive thing out of all this is that there's nothing fundamentally wrong with the car. It's just the team can't figure out a way to add more downforce without significantly increasing the drag on the car, which, let's be honest, isn't the worst problem to have. Because last year, the car just couldn't stop bouncing. This year, all they gotta work on is drag. But the thing is, it still won't be enough to catch up to Red Bull.
Late braking, Leclerc this time might just have to give way as he goes off the track, and when he comes back on, Max Verstappen has just send Holland into raptures. 6 victories in Formula One.
The team has truly built something out of the ordinary, mostly thanks to Adrian Newey and his genius mind. Russell also talked about how Mercedes has taken a conservative approach and how maybe the team needs to add some cheap downforce. At the same time, though, Russell doesn't think that abandoning the minimalist design will help. He really doesn't believe that using Red Bull's concept will help the team start winning, because the truth is the floor is a much bigger contributor to performance now than it was ever before. George said that the entire reason the team has the skinny side pod concept is that the team believes that it's the best. He's clarified that Red Bull-style side pods will not be a solution, but rather the floor. The floor is what's important, according to him, and he stated that yes, the floor is important, but there's also a lot of magic done in the parts of the car that we can't see. He's right, yes. The fundamental issues with Mercedes right now is its floor, and that's something that only Adrian Newey has been able to hack so far. Plus, in this era of cost caps, the team just can't throw $1 billion on the car and hope that everything is fixed. It needs to do whatever it can for a very small amount of money. So we might be getting closer to the end of Mercedes as we know it. Or are we? Because Mercedes has claimed that it will make visible changes that will make the car fast. How fast? Unfortunately, not faster or even as fast as Red Bull.
Extraordinary drive from this teenager. Can Verstappen not make a mistake as his tyres get very old indeed?
At 18 years and 227 days old, Max Verstappen wins!
But considering the gap to the front, the team is considering more radical changes. But since these changes will require a lot of work done in the wind tunnels, the team isn't exactly sure of what they'll do. That's actually where Russell's sacrifice comes in, because he'll help the team understand how the car actually runs on the track by letting go of his own potential points. But what exactly is it that Mercedes needs to change? The team really needs to start realizing what the problem is, because just because the side pod of the car is different, that doesn't mean that it's behind the team's woes. The thing that's causing the problem, most likely, is the interplay between the underfloor and the side pods and the rear end of the car. The problem is quite clearly aerodynamic, because mechanically it's the same as Aston Martin at the back. And as far as Aston Martin's engine is concerned, it's the same as Mercedes. In fact, Mercedes has probably kept the best power unit for themselves. This proves that the body is where the problem lies. So it has something to do with the air coming to the front wing, through the front suspension, down the side pods, and under the floor. That's the area that's causing the problem, and that's a huge area. So no, just changing the side pods will not solve this problem. I mean, it can be, but it most likely won't. Like, I won't be surprised if the team does change the side pods, because right now that seems to be a problematic area. But it would surprise me if that solution ends up working. And that, folks, is all on George Russell's sacrifice for Mercedes' long-term progress.